What is up? Welcome to another edition of Racing Dudes Live. It's Preakness Day. How you guys doing?
Great. Doing great. Glad to be here. Samich, what's up?
What's going on, guys? It's Preakness Day. Come on. Where's the energy? Where's the excitement?
Yeah, anything new happening in the racing world this week that we need to get excited about?
Nope. Totally normal Preakness.
Is Medina Spirit going for the Triple Crown today? That's the thing. Like, is he? As I put in one of the articles, I was like, well, as of writing this and as of you reading this, he is technically the only horse eligible to win the Triple Crown. Kind of. I mean, Mandaloon would be, I guess, but he's not running today. So now he is the horse running for the Triple Crown.
I would describe it as living on a prayer for him to win the Triple Crown at this point. Not even getting into can he win today and can he win in 3 weeks at Belmont. But who knows if he's going to win the Kentucky Derby. But listen, honestly, these 2 days have been fun. A lot of close finishes, a lot of great races. We've cashed some tickets. So I'm really not complaining. It's felt good to kind of be back and rooting for horses to win and just playing the horses again, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been what you kind of want from these couple of days of races, right? We had 4 or 5 epic photo finishes here already where you just had great stretch duels. You've seen some really good performances. It was nice to cash a ticket early on Friday to kind of not have to worry about that for the 2 days. And now it's just, this last double is what I'm actually the most excited about coming into the whole thing. It's what we talked about quite a bit. I actually really like this race. And I have an opinion I think been pretty validated by the way the track's playing in the Preakness as well. So pretty excited to get these 2 races going. It's been 2 solid days of racing, and the handle's been great. The pools have been great to bet into, so no complaints over here.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's all things considered. It's like everything's like the racing's been really good. Bafford's lost a few races, so I think if you're on that fence, you're happy to see that. That might change here in a little bit. Here we're 30 minutes to post from the dinner party, which is one of the races I was most excited to watch on these 2 days, just because you have some nice turf horses, some like a Hot Brown. You got a couple Chad Browns in here, Sacred Life and Kermata. Sacred Life being 65 right now, Kermata 72. Some like a Hot Brown at 9-2. Real quick, I mean, what are you playing, or how are you kind of playing into the Preakness Summit as we get, for this race and into obviously kind of the last 3 races here?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following any of the stuff I've been doing out there on social media, I kind of fell in love with English B in this spot. The 2-horse. I liked this horse in the previous years. Doesn't always get it done. English Channel horses seem to get better as they get older. It's one of those things where they're 5- and 6-year-old season. You often see them take steps forward that you don't see with other horses. This is the first start of English B's 5-year-old career. They talked to Graham Motion on TVG earlier today. He said the horse is really fit, really well. I get my boy Joel Rosario in there, the bell curve himself, to see how he's able to do and what kind of ride we get. But the thing that stood out to me here, and I talked about this with Aaron before we did the Magic Mike show, the 7-horse Flying Scotsman is 100% a rabbit in this race. The only reason that Calumet Farms entered Flying Scotsman was to press the pace to set it up for English B. I don't think you kind of throw away a race from a horse if you don't think the other horse that's going to close is going to absolutely fire. So my expectation here is that Calumet kind of tipped their hand by entering Flying Scotsman here to push the pace, to make sure something like a Hot Brown doesn't get a soft pace, and to set it up for the 2-horse English B, who's on the board at 8-1 right now.
Yeah, I know. We talked about it a lot, and it does make sense, and the pace should play out like that. So yeah, at 8-1, I think that horse is definitely worth a shot. What's Sacred Life right now? It's still like pretty heavy favorite. So, yeah, and that's the horse could certainly win, but it's not a 6-5 type of horse. It's just not, Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think you get some value there with English B. I think. I've seen a lot of people like something like a Hot Brown talking about that horse. I think your scenario is going to make or break the race for this horse. Can Flying Scotsman go up and do the job and put the pressure on something like a Hot Brown? And if he can, and then all of a sudden he looks pretty tough to beat. So it's definitely a short field, shorter than we're used to maybe for this race, but there's definitely some angles where you can make some money here.
Yeah, I'm with. We talked a lot about this on the pod. It's like with Sacred Life. I get why you would use this horse, and obviously this horse runs pretty much consistently in Grade 1 races. But if you look back, I mean, really the only time this horse has been successful is when been running in non-stakes races or non-graded stakes races. This really is like a horse that likes to kind of run well, but not good enough, and so you have the the ultimate question here is like, well, is this enough reduction of a class relief where this horse can finally get the win? And then you got, this didn't work well for me earlier in the card, but you got a Chad Brown horse that looks kind of untested or kind of developing. That's number 3, Kermata. The other Chad Brown, so to speak, which is always dangerous. Irad Ortiz back to right. I like this one. I think honestly, and you and I, we talked about this race forever when we were coming up with the live bankroll. I mean, we just couldn't quite. It was hard for such a sort of simple race in terms of there's only a few horses in here that look like that could win. And we had a hard time kind of coming up with how to play those Chad Browns because just does, even though Sacred Life is the kind of the class, so this feels like he's one of those that likes to finish second.
Yep, and that's the key, especially when you got a horse that's 6-5. If you can, you can try to beat him on top. You definitely want to do so. Samich, I'll let you talk about this. What about the Pratt horse in this race? Because I know you like him. Yeah,
I think it's sneaky, and if I'm saying that the pace is going to set up to be able to, to get a nice favorable setup for English B, you kind of have to look at the 6th horse here. You got to look at Talker Listen, and you look at what this horse has done. It's a very lightly raced horse, so it's a 5-year-old here, only 5 starts in the U.S. Was able to run some big time form numbers back in France in the 2019 season. It's one of the reasons I like this horse, running in grade 2s and grade 3s over there. Ran well in the Tampa Bay Derby. Runs first time out in a clear setup race. You're not running in a $68,000 allowance with a grade stakes horse if you're not setting it up for the next start out. Pops a 99 buyer. It's essentially the 3rd start as a 5-year-old, but this is going to be the 2nd start off a layoff, 4th start in the 5-year-old season. I think you could see a logical step forward here. For my money too. Give me Pratt on the turf any day, anywhere, anytime. I mean, he absolutely outrode everybody in Kentucky 2 weeks ago. Getting 11-1 on him here, I think, is a gift.
I have some bad news for you guys. My top pick in this race is definitely not winning now because Dan likes the one. So that's an auto top. Sorry,
it's actually good news for me, so that's awesome.
Yep, I used the one on top. We also used the other Chad Brown, but yeah, we're screwed now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Yeah, and by the way, Real Dynasty, we are.
Yeah.
See. We just thought it was more professional to do it this way.
Honestly, it looks really weird as hell when 2 people share one screen. That's just
especially when it's just 3 people.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even worse when you're in a hotel room.
It's that, isn't it?
The jokes never end.
No.
Did you guys watch the replay of the other brown horse, just out of curiosity?
The replay of the 3 horse of this race? The last race?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could not get excited about Karamata because of that replay. And there's nothing in that field. Lahara is another brown horse. They were entry mates. Mm-hmm. And Karamata just kind of, everything went perfectly for this horse. And you need a huge improvement here to be able to compete with this field. I don't like leaving off the other brown, but I felt like this is a horse that's going to take money because it's a brown horse. It doesn't really fit in this field.
My deal with this other brown is why is he in the race, number 1, and number 2, why is Irad on the horse? And Irad hasn't had just a fantastic day today, but so there's that. But I just couldn't get over it. It's like, why? So I think that's why I ended up using the horse. I didn't pick the horse to win, anything like that, but I just think that he should, judging by the signs that the trainer's given us, should at least come up with a decent run. Listen, I thought Flighty Lady would come up with a decent run, and she looked better on paper than this horse, and she was awful against Mean Mary. She was bad. Go ahead.
They also let Mean Mary walk. So I she didn't run a step, but no one was like Mean Mary. I got the gift of a trip.
Yeah, I'm not.
He didn't. I wouldn't. I'm not. I mean, I think it would be nice for her to even run up for second. With Flighty Lady, it was like, given that pace, I don't think anyone was going to beat Mean Mary, but just for her not even to fire, it was a weird ride too, right? Like all of a sudden he's got a perfect position outside of her, and all of a sudden he's boxed in with it's just like, what are you doing? And then he has to go. I don't think it would have mattered ultimately, but still it was kind of a weird trip. But yeah, that's ultimately why I ended up going with something like a Hot Brown, because of I used Chad Brown underneath because I was like, he's scary when he has a horse like this into a race, but at the same time, that's why I couldn't use the 3 on top, because I just was like, well, you're right. It wasn't ultimately impressive. And something like a Hot Brown, I was wanting better. I wanted to pick the other Chad Brown, but this horse drawing the rail this horse is capable of throwing big performances out, especially on the front end. So I thought maybe this horse just steals the race. So that's ultimately why I used something like Hot Brown. And honestly, 9-2 is more than fair. I feel like at that, considering.
He's 9-2.
9-2.
Yeah, that's pretty good odds.
And Maker, by the way, did all right today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah. I won't say that, but I had a line. I'm not gonna go in the weeds with this show. I haven't been drinking, so
but at least Baffert's not winning, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, something like a Hot Brown at 9-2. That is fair. If you like that horse, that you're getting fair odds. But I'm confident that he can last as long as the 7 doesn't bother him. And my theory on it is the 7 is going to try to bother him, but maybe it's just a rabbit that won't really matter when it all said and done. He'll kind of shake loose of him. This race, like I said, it's kind of what I would call a circle race. If you really dive down deep into it, it's kind of tough. But listen, so should we focus on the Preakness now, or should we keep going? Because I know
we can let us know if you guys want to talk more about this race. We can go ahead and shift over to the Preakness just because that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
Which is obviously race 13, the race right after this one. And currently, I know it's gone kind of flip-flop. What are the current? Is Midnight Bourbon still, or is it now Medina Spirit?
Let me see.
So right now, Midnight Bourbon is 5-2, Medina Spirit's 3-1, and the 10-horse Concertor is 4-1. But not so fast, my friend. Let's look at the double wheel pays, because that's actually where I think you're going to get a more realistic call out here. So in the double wheel pays, Medina Spirit is an $8 double with the 5-horse. And both Concertor and Midnight Bourbon are $10 doubles. So you're seeing Medina Spirit as I would call it lukewarm favorite, somewhere in the 5-2 range with 3-1 on both Concertor and Midnight Bourbon right now, based on the will pays of the probable double pays.
Wow. I wanted to bring up a comment, Vicky, here, and because I think this really is a huge thing we were talking about before we went on the air. Vicky says, with the way the track is playing inside speed, does it upgrade Medina Spirit for any of you? Samich, go ahead. Right as you eat. And you muted yourself.
Well, that's because I was eating a chip. You're killing me, man. So I had, I figured you'd go on a nice you bring up a comment. You're supposed to talk about it for a little bit, not just flip it to somebody. I have Medina Spirit in third. I don't think Medina Spirit is the fastest horse. I think Concertor is going to make the rail and make the lead. So this, to me, would actually upgrade Concertor in that sense, because I have a feeling that, and there's no way that Smith and Velasquez haven't talked about this. Whichever horse is naturally faster to the first turn is going to have a pretty easy lead once that happens. For me, it's Concertor is naturally faster than Medina Spirit. You saw Life is Good be naturally faster than Medina Spirit. I think you're going to see that from Concertor today, and I think he's wiring the field.
You know why he thought I was going to go on for a little while? Because he was used to Ricky. If Ricky would have introduced that topip, he would still be talking. But no, I like
real quick.
Now let me ask you, and I might be wrong, and tell me if I am, but I'd like to ask you a question, Samich. And before I get to, it's like, okay, Samich has time to eat the whole bag of chips.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
Listen,
I'm not used to this, man.
Samich and I are actually, he made a joke earlier today that I copied. Like he sends, everyone sends me the picks. We put them in the guide. I put them in the guide. Sometimes Halsman will throw them in there, but. So I usually get everyone's picks beforehand, and Samich jokes if I just copied all his picks, because we have a lot of the same thoughts, and we're both on Concertor here. And yeah, I'm with him. And ultimately, I feel like it's going to be whoever's on the lead when they kind of hit the first turn is who's going to kind of get that position, and the other one's going to allow the other one to kind of get that position, so to speak. So I definitely think both jockeys are listen, we're both going to go for the lead. But we're also in the same respect, whoever gets the lead, back the F off, and then kind of clear the way. And honestly, the best case scenario for Baffert is whoever it is, the other one's sitting right off of them, and they're just, side by side, but not pushing each other too much. That would be ideal. I just think Concertor is naturally faster. And honestly, it spells a lot of doom for Medina Spirit if he's not on the lead, because we've seen him. When he's been best, he's been gate to wire. When he's off of it, I don't expect – the thing about Medina Spirit is forget everything that's happened this week. it would be shocking to see him run absolutely awful, because he has been a very consistent horse and truly the most consistent horse in the race.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. And Vicky had another good comment, and I know exactly what she's talking about because I watched both of these interviews. They interviewed Johnny V on TVG. It was early in the day. I can't remember how long ago it was, but it was a while. And he said, hey, I'm going to break, going to go right to the front, and if anybody's ahead of me, they're going way too fast. And then, Samich, you said you saw Mike Smith's interview, and he said, hey, I've got the naturally fastest horse. I'm pretty sure I'll be in front. So these two veteran jockeys are either playing coy with us or they're going to go headstrong. I can't imagine these two haven't sat down and discussed the game plan here. I think that would be naive to think they haven't.
It's the second quarter. That's the key here, right? The first quarter could be fast. You could see a 22 and change first quarter. But neither is going to press the other one in the second quarter, because then it becomes detrimental to both of them, right? You kind of have to back off. And there's not going to be a third horse that can press these two from a pace perspective. I mean, Midnight Bourbon can be within a length and a half of them, but he's not as fast as these two. And if he tries to, Midnight Bourbon's done at 6 furlongs. Mm-hmm. So you kind of sit up with it where, yes, it could totally happen where one of the opening quarter is fast, but then like you could see that 22 and 4, 46 and 1, right? Where they run a 24-second second quarter, and that gives them the breather to be able to kind of get home. If they go, 22 and change, 46 and change, 111, they're not stopping on this track. This track's a conveyor belt right now.
That's a really good point, and I said it on the show. I can't remember which one. Magic Michael Blinkers off one or the other. Midnight Bourbon really doesn't have any other choice than to stock, and because of just what you said. If he goes up there and tries to fly with them early, it's going to be much tougher for him to run with them because he just doesn't have that high cruising speed. So you're right. I mean, at that point, he's kind of, from a trip standpoint and how the track's playing, he's a little up against it all of a sudden. And not to mention he's getting to way over bet. It's insane how much money he's taken. I mean, I never ever would have thought this horse would be 5-2 ever.
So I mean, what do you guys envision? Because obviously, like you say, I completely agree with you. I mean, it seems like the two Bafferts are going to make sure that they are 1-2 early in this race. But Midnight Bourbon sitting off of them, I mean, is he just going to get more of a pocket trip right behind those two and kind of be inside of whether it be Concerture or Medina, and or is he going to, like, what do you think Irad chooses to do with him, considering you're almost conceding the lead at the very beginning?
He sits third and he says a prayer.
I think I'm pretty confident we're going 10-5. That's going to be cold 10-5 exacta.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Medina Spirit I've harped on this so much, but the adjusted times, Midnight Bourbon ran faster than Medina Spirit in the Derby when you adjust for feet traveled, and that trip was terrible, right? I think Midnight Bourbon may be better than Medina Spirit. I think it's pretty close, but I think he may be better than Medina Spirit. And look, Medina Spirit got an A++ trip. The draw was perfect. The trip was perfect. There was no pressure, nothing in the Derby, right? Everyone else had, C trips and D trips. If one of those horses had a B+ trip, Medina Spirit wouldn't have won that race, right? Yeah. The only horse that had the next best trip was Mandaloun, who's 36-1, and we're not really sure how good Mandaloun is yet. Obviously, that validated kind of the race 2 back in Lecomte and his other Louisiana starts, not the Louisiana Derby. But if Essential Quality got Mandaloun's trip, Essential Quality wins by 4, right? So, like, to me, the fact that you're now getting 5-2 or 3-1 or whatever it's going to be on Medina Spirit when you just got 12-1 and you're 10 horses means that trips aren't going to be as bad. I mean, I see the other contenders in here getting B+ or A- trips. And even if Medina Spirit gets an A+ trip, I don't think he's good enough to hold off those horses with better trips.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And again, I kind of went into it a little bit, but I'll say it one more time. Medina Spirit didn't ship this whole year leading up to the Kentucky Derby, even though we knew a horse was better than him from his own barn, and Bob Baffert knew a horse that was better than him. Life is Good. He just kept running him against Life is Good, knowing he couldn't win. He did that, and he's on record saying, I'm not sure how Medina Spirit's going to ship. He's lightly framed, and he may not ship very well. Here we go, 2 weeks rest, shipping from Churchill to Pimlico in a van. I just think there's natural reasons to think he might bounce here.
No, I mean, because they say you forget everything that's happened this week. It's hard enough to do what he's done or to win in 2 weeks' time, especially when you, like Samich said, wasn't like you were, one of those horses that Baffert would typically win with the Kentucky Derby, where it's like Just Fire, Pharaoh, or whatever. Where you're like, yeah, I mean, I can see this horse.
You know,
this horse is obviously very talented, but I mean, Medina Spirit, 12-1 in the Derby.
It's his 6th race of the year too. Like he ran in all 4 of the Santa Anita Derby preps and the Kentucky Derby. So, and that's really not Baffert style usually either. He's got them spaced out and he kind of plans those a little bit better. He's treated this horse all year like oh hell, we'll throw him in the race type of horse, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you, because I thought this was a good question for Michael Myers, because I kind of have this feeling too with Crowded Trade. He says Crowded Trade is going to be rushed up or goes forward today because he was pulled back in the wood, and the Gotham really was one of his best performances, if not his best performance, where he ran a really good second. He definitely seemed like a better horse, when he was more forwardly placed. So, do you think, considering as well, Chad's got 2, Claravich has 2 horses, risk taking obviously is the one that would seemingly be coming from off the pace. Do you think Crowded Trade and Chad Brown say, you know what, we're not going to let this be a Baffert duo up front. We're going to try to make this thing kind of go. Do you think Crowded Trade goes?
So, how much? What do you think?
I think he's slow. I mean, like, it's he's the fastest half mile he's been around is a 47 and change half mile. He was 6 lengths off the lead. The half mile that you're referencing was 48. Like, this is another Midnight Bourbon example of a horse that showed speed against slow horses. So you get excited about the idea that he can show speed, but then they go 46 and change up front, and he's 10 lengths back. To me, that's the biggest issue here, is that the other horses that have some speed in their back is they are speed in paceless races. They're not speed in races where you have horses going 23-46. They're speed in races where you have horses going 24-48.
I would say this. You know how we said Midnight Bourbon would have to work to run with the top 2 Bafferts, so he'll probably sit 3rd. I would say Crowded Trade would have to work to run with Midnight Bourbon. Like, even not to mention get up to the very front. He would have to work just to get in that second flight.
I do think the strategy of them trying is probably accurate. I think they try to forwardly place them, especially considering there's 2 horses in the race. But yeah, I don't see any way that he can hang with the 2 Bafferts, and they, like you say, even let alone Midnight Bourbon.
Yeah,
I think the key is, can anyone in the race make them uncomfortable, right? Because and then that's because we've talked about how fast paces, slow paces, a lot of it is how comfortable the horse is going. It's not necessarily how fast they're going up front. And so can anyone make either of these Bafferts uncomfortable up front? And I think the answer is a pretty hard no, unless they make themselves incredibly uncomfortable. And so I guess you could make an argument for the 4 because you have another Chad Brown horse that could be setting up. But in the Preakness with different ownership groups, I don't really necessarily think that's what you're looking to do. Do you really want to completely give up your own chance? If you're Peter Brandt in this case, right on the 4, do you really, let me make sure that's right, Claravich. So does Claravich really want to give up its entire chance at winning the race just so the other Chad Brown can win the race? I mean, it's tough. Like, I'm making an argument in the turf race because it's a Calumet horse setting up for a Calumet horse, right? So I think it's tough to say that one Brown's going to rabbit for the other.
And I think the one that we were thinking could be a rabbit is probably the one that has the best chance, right?
Well, both are Claravich.
Yeah, they're both owned by Claravich. So, but
are they?
Yeah.
Risk Taking and Crowded Trade are both Claravich. So,
I mean,
but again, if I'm Claravich and I got Crowded Trade, I think he's got the best shot to win. So why would I want him to be a rabbit? I don't know. If it was flip-flopped, maybe, but we know Risk Taking can't go out there. So
yeah, I mean, that's just my point. Is like, if you have 2 horses in the race, forget the Baffert situation. One's probably going to be forwardly placed, the other one's going to be off.
What about the Japanese horse? Can that horse get out there and bother him?
So, look, Francisco de Ina, the 7 horse.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Francisco de Ina. I nailed it that time.
Yeah.
Look, it's not a France horse?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I watched all the replays, which are impossible to find. I give a shout out to Justin Du, who sent me literally the Japanese characters you have to enter into YouTube to be able to watch these replays. The horse is always forwardly placed, not necessarily pressing, and the pace is a little slower than what you see from a U.S. pace in a lot of these races. So I think you're going to see the horse kind of forwardly placed. But we got to remember, this is the bell curve on this horse, right? The chances that Rosario sends the 7 is like 0. If this was Sire,
it's amazing that turned into something.
I mean, it really is. If this was Saez, if this was Paco, like yes, talk to me. Like, I could see them sending. I don't think the 7's going to try and send. I think the 7's going to try and sit behind Midnight Bourbon. And like honestly, Francisco de Ina, I think is a legit shot at hitting the board. I'm going to use him in every one of my supers, and I think that he's going. Like, look, I did this comparison. I love to do this comparison with the 3-year-olds. I did it on the Deep Dive Pod, where like you compare in NCAA basketball, especially this year, you had a bunch of conferences. They'd never faced anyone else. Then they went to the NCAA tournament. You saw specific conferences stand out. Mm-hmm. We saw that this year when you look at the Kentucky Derby, where you didn't have the same movement between the different groups. The 1 and 3 horse are both California horses. The horses that ran 2, 5, and 6 were all from Louisiana. The 4th place horse was your favorite essential quality. Essentially, the top 6 make up from these 3 packs. You only have 1 new shooter coming in from that group. That's Rombauer. I think Rombauer makes the most sense if you're looking for a price underneath. And if you look at the New York horses, conversely, we were low on that group the entire time. They end up running 10th, 13th, and 18th in the Derby. And adjusted time traveled, they run 17th and 18th with the 2 horses that we're talking about that faced the 4 and the 9 previously.
I mean, I think that's honestly, I like for underneath play Rombauer as well. I think Halter and I both are Rombauer. I'm Bridal Honor. I think underneath makes a little sense. 3rd and 4th, I wouldn't use top 2. But no, I'd rather have those horses. And really, honestly, the 7. And I'm not going to try to say it, so I'm just going to say the 7. But no, that to me is kind of a little bit of an unknown. And the horse is not like a horse like. He ran awful in UA Derby, but he's obviously has some class, and you have Rosario back, who maybe he runs a decent rate, right? He's got the bell curve. Like all depends on what he does here, right? Because how does it work? He's obviously, is he going to go down? If he goes down here, could he go back up in this race?
So this is the beauty of the bell curve, right? You have that curve where the median is in the middle, right? But then you have Rosario's curve is like this. It's so fucking big. You have no clue. You have no clue how like bad and good the ride can be, and you have no idea when it's going to come. That's the biggest problem with Rosario. He could literally throw in an app like yesterday. Worst ride of the day on Miss Danvers. Best ride of the day on Army Wife. Like out of the entire group. It's amazing how from like in an hour period he can provide you with the worst ride and the best ride. And so it's tough because you just never know what you're going to get. He's going to try and close on the inside here with English B. Is he going to be able to split horses and find the hole and win the race? Or is he going to make the horse check on the far turn and cost him the race? I don't know.
You got to have a short memory, Samich, okay? Right. You just forget the last one. You just ride it again the next race. All right, I think we're like 4 minutes from this race. We'll get back to the Preakness talk, obviously, after this race. And by the way, we are going to be on Aaron and I we'll be on Sirius XM, Mad Dog, after at 5:15 Central. We'll be on Mad Dog talking about the Preakness. So we're going to jump off of here. Then we'll be back on this show, the 3 of us, following the Preakness and kind of give a final, recap of what we saw. So we'll be back. You basically get 2 shows today. So make sure you go check out Sirius XM channel 82 for Mad Dog Sports to get our Preakness thoughts, more Preakness thoughts after we log off of here. But for this race, Samich, final thoughts on the dinner party as we are 3 minutes to post.
I'm sticking with the 2 English B. I'm going to play doubles into the 10 concert tour next race, and then I'm going to play. I'm going to box up a triple 2, 5, 6. I'm going to see if we can get one of the 2 prices home, and then get the 5 horse Sacred Life there to round out the top 3.
Does anybody know what the bananas?
Listen, I just have to put it up.
Bananas and ponies, man.
I laugh every time.
There's been a lot of them.
I mean, you got to think the guy's just smashing a bushel of bananas while watching this, right? Just
I hope that's what it is. I love the name. I love the.
I mean, is it like similar to the eggplant emoji?
I
Is
guess.
that what it's supposed to be?
That's my guess.
I don't know. Likes to eat bananas.
I just really like it. Every time he puts it on, I laugh every time.
Am I the only one who thinks of Mario Kart when he throws that thing up there?
What's that?
Am I the only one who thinks of Mario Kart when he throws those bananas up there?
Yeah.
Every time.
I think of Donkey Kong.
There you go. That works too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts on the dinner party? Well, let's see.
4-1 on something like Hot Round currently. English B is at 9-1. Kamada is 7-2. And Sacred Life is 6-5.
For the guide, I really want the 1 to win, and then the 3 to get second. How about that?
Ooh, you got another banana. There you go.
Yeah, I know. And I only get one banana, so I almost got 5.
I know.
You start talking and see how many you get.
Okay,
What are your thoughts on the race?
Well, I'm sticking with something like a Hot Brown to go right. You'll know the thing about this horse is you'll know right from the start if this is going to work or not, because he's going to have to break, and Jose is going to have to send this horse, and they're going to have to chase. The distance, he can get the distance, and when he's capable of running a big race, or when he runs a big race, it's capable of being really big and big enough to win here.
That's what she said.
See how many bananas that gets me. And then I like the 3, obviously, and 5 underneath. So that's my play. The one, I think the three to me is too unknown. I just don't feel like if you want to leave a Chad Brown off the top, honestly, I would lean more to the 5 because the 6 to 5, I just don't trust that horse enough.
It seems like a horse to use underneath as he probably getting ready to win by 3, but it does, because here's the deal. Even if you play the 5 on top in an exacta, it's not going to pay that well. We saw that with Mean Mary. I only got one. You got one banana too. You saw that with Mean Mary where she won, and then we had sort of a price for a 5-horse field. It was a decent price underneath, and the exacta paid $9.90 for $1. I mean, not that's fine if you played it straight, but it's not a huge payout. So, yeah, we got to try to get the 5 beat. Hopefully, for our sake, the 1 and the 3 can beat the 5. But we'll see.
I played a $2 banana try just in case. The 4 with a 5
nice.
With the 1. So we'll see if bananas and ponies can give me the try here.
All right. I'm worried that they're going to just show this on NBC. I'm going to go change the channel.
Yeah, it's on NBC.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Samich because he's like looking into this as like he's like decoding the bananas right now. Like it's
bananas are giving us his picks.
The 4-5-1. You got to play the super too. 4-5-1, and then throw us one more banana or another banana one. So you got to do that. But no, we will be back to talk. Well, after this, 4. Well, that didn't work. 4 shoots.
We've got to use that one.
I don't think he knows what we're saying. He or she, whoever this is. I don't think you understand.
I think the 4, he really likes the 4.
The 4.
Midnight tea time. There you go.
4-1.
But like my dad and I were talking about this race earlier. This was one of the toughest ones that we had on the card because you have the 2 Browns, so you can make a logical case for the 5 and the 3. I obviously like the 2 English B. Bye Melvin. This is second off the layoff out of the same barn, the Motion barn. So you could make a case that the 2 and 8 are connected there. The 1, obviously, some like it Hot Brown could easily wire this field if the 7 Talk or Listen doesn't go. And all of a sudden, you're using 7 of the 8 horses. And the only one you aren't using is the 7. Who might get loose on the lead if he does just send. So this, I thought, was the toughest from a multi-race sequence because you really either have to hit the all button or take a stand here. And the last thing I'd want to do is take a stand on Sacred Life, who I think at even money is a terrible bet to single in a lot of these races. Could win, but it's just not the single that you're looking for.
No, and 7-2 on the other Brown horse is too short too.
I agree.
It really is. I mean, listen, I know you like English B, and that's great. You don't have to worry about it. But out of the 3 like contenders that we were talking about, some like a Hot Brown at 9-2 is the right price.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
We're probably going to be a little behind you, Samich. We're going to have to mute you once this race starts.
You only have to mute me if the 2 wins. That's the only time I won't get too excited here.
Well, we don't have the 2, so we don't want to know that. Where are they at on your feed there?
I'm looking at them walking out of the turf course, going toward the gate right now.
Okay, well, they're on the turf course for me, or for us, so maybe.
They're just showing the 1, some like a Hot Brown right now. I'm on NBC's feed.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
So I bet we should be about the same.
Okay, all right. We may have to mute the comments then. You can be. I'm sure they're a little ahead of us if you're watching like on the track feed.
Yeah,
it's usually a little bit behind, but yeah, that's gonna be. Let's
get this. Let's just get this one home one time. Sorry, Samich. I mean, come on.
Let's just hit this exacta, and then we don't have to worry about.
I'm gonna be greedy. Let's just get the 2 home.
Yeah, you're a little ahead of us because now they're showing some like Hot Brown on ours.
They're about to walk into the gate here. Some like your Hot Brown's about to walk in. Yeah, I gotta say, there's a ton of people at Pimlico. Yeah, I'm surprised to see how full the stands have been all day.
Well, when I started seeing the photos like this week come out, and I was like, man, like from like the horses, like training and stuff. Like, man, they've got all the tents out and everything. Like they're really gonna do this thing like normal, and it definitely has had the feel of pretty much a normal Preakness, right?
I've been itching to get back to the track because of watching these. Watching the fans on the track at the track for the Derby and then the Preakness. I can't wait to be up in Saratoga this summer. I'm gonna be in Lone Star in less than 2 weeks.
Oh, hey, you know who's running at Lone Star when you're going to be there?
Are you going yet? Have you actually decided you're going?
I think I'll go because Nick Sco is going to run.
Is he really?
Yes, he's running in the Sexton Mile.
Interesting. That's on Monday, right?
Yeah, they're using it as a prep. Well, no, they wouldn't be a prep for the net mile. I don't know why the hell he's running there.
I don't know.
Anyway, they're loading. Are they loading the gate for you, Samich?
We are in the gate right now.
Okay.
And
3 horses. Okay. Well, you don't listen. I'm going to mute you.
You're gonna come on.
Don't tell us who won.
I won't tell you who won, but I will tell you the 7's got a length on the 1 already.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and now the 1's checking.
Hey, you're
don't do that either. You're lying too. My feed, the 1's way ahead already.
Watching different races now.
Oh, the 1 broke pretty poorly.
All right, I'm a good 20 seconds ahead of you then.
Yeah, they just broke us. So.
All right, I will be stoic until I'm gonna eat a cracker. Actually, I'm gonna go on mute and eat a cracker until this race.
Okay,
eat you a cracker.
Yeah, eat a cracker.
Pull up. What do you? God bless. Really?
Well, listen though, you don't want him to go out there and just fly with him.
No, but
and he's already flip flopped him to the outside. I don't hate that.
He's down to 5-2 now, though.
Yeah, and you sit behind him and hope he comes back. I mean, I don't hate what's happening because you don't want him up there on that pace.
No, they're going pretty quick.
Yeah, he's fine. Watch the 7 will probably take him gate to 1.
I know. Hey, I use a 7 in my 4th spot. This horse is gonna. This is definitely a rabbit, though. I understand why they're.
I think my dad used this horse in the 4th spot too. Strange.
Something like a hot brown. Talker Listen by my Melvin.
Where's the 5?
5 towards the back.
Both Browns are in the very back.
Yep.
Oh wow.
So both horses are gonna have to do some running here in a second. The 7 looks awfully good.
Yeah, he's getting
really
caught.
loaded.
Yeah, the 1 looks good.
These 2 are pulling away though, so let's see.
The 7 is still going. Here comes
the 5.
Somebody on the inside though.
The 1 looks really good. Can he hold on?
Can any of our horses close?
Here comes the 5.
Here comes the 5.
Hold on, 1.
Come in, 1-5. 1-5. Get up, 5.
Get up, 5.
Get up, 5. You motherfucker. You're not going to get up.
1 wins, and we can't get fucking Chad Brown to get up for fucking second.
That's 2 times today we've had a winner in an exacta and couldn't get Brown for second. Oh, my gosh.
So like a hot Brown.
Who got second?
The 6. Talker Listen.
Oh, the Pratt horse. Wow.
I love it. I picked the horse to win, and the king didn't get to catch a ticket with it. So,
you know what's great?
What's great?
When your stablemate rabbit cuts off your rail.
I didn't see it.
That's
absolutely Brown is really good.
I was watching this.
I'm not sure what it matters. Something like a hot brown looked good there.
Yeah. Well, some like a hot brown did what you have to do when there's a rabbit out there. Sit up with them.
Mm-hmm. And he has shown the ability to be able to do that in the past. That was the correct tactical move there from Jose Ortiz.
I'm seeing your 2. Oh yeah, your 2 is bottled up.
It's we got the bad end of the bell curve right there.
Yeah. Look at this 5.
Can't even
get up there. What a loser.
Not only that, the 5 slams his stablemate into behind horses, so that the 3 has no option to run anywhere.
Don't they need no? They need to work together so we can get the exacta. Come on, that was a joke.
Well, no, yeah, that's brutal, man. That's just ugh.
Well,
damn. Yeah, it's been that kind of day, kind of when it comes to these exotics.
Yep, our win bets have been spot on, but we're just missing them, and it's so close every time. I thought that mid-stretch the 5 was going to get second.
Honestly, for a second, I thought, well, shit, the 5's going to win, and the 1 is going to get second, and we don't have it that way. We had the 3-1 on top.
Listen, he tried to tell us the 1. He tried to tell us.
Yeah.
We listened. We played the 1. We just didn't have the second horse. Oh. Yes, 164, Michael. Yeah.
165.
Was it 5? I thought the 4.
Really?
I'm pretty sure the 4 got third.
I don't know. The 5 hung like a little bee.
Yeah, the 5, they need to go. Well, I'm not going to say that. We're on air. I forgot we were on air.
Oh, damn it. You know what, too?
Was it the 4? It was the 4, wasn't it? No, you didn't look. I thought you were looking it up.
The same thing with
It's not up on the Preakness feed.
where I thought we got it. All we got to do is get a horse up. Like we got the winner home, whoever it is. It happened earlier when we had those 2 horses in the front.
Well, it's the best feeling in the world when you turn for home. Well, not in the world, but in horse racing, when you turn for home. The 4, yeah. I love this
All
guy.
we can speak.
Whoever this person is my favorite. But the best feeling in horse racing is when you turn for home and you've got an exotic and you know you've got the top spot.
Yeah.
And so then it's just, okay, somebody get up and get second. Or in the Tri's case, you've got the top 2 spots. Somebody come up and get third. And you've got plenty of options and they don't do it. That's really frustrating. But that's racing. That's what happens. Sometimes you bet exotics and sometimes the luck doesn't fall your way. Let's see. A 1-5 would have paid $10 for $1. We would have it 10 times. So we lost. I mean, we would have won 100 there if it comes in 1-5. Oh well, it didn't come in 1-5, so it doesn't matter.
Well, an interesting note here: the final double will pays.
Okay.
So you're going to see, based on these numbers, it flip-flops depending on who, but Medina Spirit's going to be your slight favorite. So with the 5, it was paying $9 to Medina Spirit. Concert Tour was your second favorite at $10, and Midnight Bourbon was your third favorite at $12, which is kind of, I think, what we expected. Almost every single horse is that same order, except for actually the one where it's 3, 5, 10. But I have a feeling you're going to see the 3 Medina Spirit as let's call it a 9-5, 2-1 favorite. You're going to see Concert Tour around 5-2, and I think you're going to see Midnight Bourbon around 3-1.
Yeah. Well, that's still way too low on Midnight Bourbon. I think that's too low. I thought you needed 5-6 to 1 every bit of it. So 3-1 still too low. Listen, if you like the Bafferts, either one of them. I mean, well, I'll ask both of you guys. I'll start with you, Jared. Do you like Concert Tour? Forget about Baffert and I'm rooting against them or whatever. Just as a bet, you're happy with that price, right?
Oh yeah. I was telling a buddy of ours earlier, whenever he was at 4-1, I was like, he's an auto play at 4-1. I mean, these horses really, he should have been the favorite of the Rebel. He wasn't, but he should have been. He's never been not the favorite, and then I get 4-1. So yeah, to me, that's a price that makes him, even despite his question marks, makes him playable.
Yeah. Yeah. Banana says the 3 horse, Medina Spirit.
Banana has been right so far.
Can we get banana consensus in the guide where it's just a number of bananas instead of the name?
That would
make my life miserable, by the way, trying to piece that together. So
I would hope he'd only use horses above 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question, does the rail make Medina, how do you feel about Medina today? We did kind of address a little earlier. Mike believes Concert Tour actually is going to get that lead and get the rail, so he thinks it helps him. And I guess the right answer is, yeah, whoever gets the lead in the rail, it will help them, and you would think it's going to be Medina or it's going to be Concert Tour. So I think it does help their chances, no doubt.
I actually
What do you
just
got
asked John Velasquez if he was going to go to the lead, and he said no. And it's rare that a bobblehead says no. So he's letting us know that Concert Tour is going to get the lead. Now, I think we talked about this. Concert Tour, I think, is the naturally faster horse. And if Concert Tour gets out of the gate clean and well, then I think Concert Tour gets to the turn first and wires this field.
We quick, just one last thing I want to say is, like, how much does Sacred Life suck? Okay, because this horse can't even get up for second in that field. Like, what a piece of shit horse.
Okay, for fourth. He didn't even get fourth by himself.
No.
I mean, I'm not bitter at all. All right, so now it's forever in this time.
Oh God,
We got an hour.
We got an hour. Yeah, we're gonna be like the last 10-15 minutes here of this show. So we'll, if you have any final thoughts or final questions, make sure you ask us pre-Preakness, and then of course we're gonna log off and we'll be back following the race. I know you talked about Rombauer a little bit, Samich. Is there any other horse? Does Keep Me in Mind have any interest to you as far as your keen in third and fourth, or I talked about Unbridled Honor a little bit. Like, are any of those horses that you want to play? Or are you kind of taking a stand with these 2 horses on top, with Midnight Bourbon and Concert Tour, and then kind of you talked about Rombauer and Medina Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I ended up playing the Super. Look, when I went through this race, I almost auto chucked the 1. I auto chucked the 2. I can't get behind the Keep the Minds team that everyone's got. I didn't think the Derby was that impressive, and there's not a single race on paper that makes him competitive in this field. So unless you think he's going to take a big step forward off the Derby, which I don't see that happening. I wasn't a big fan. I'm chucking the New York horses, the 4 and the 9. And I just, the 8 is the last one left for me then. And I just couldn't get behind Unbridled Honor. If there was one that like I'm on the fence, it is the 8 Unbridled Honor. But for me, I think that the 10 is going to wire. I think the 10 is going to get out and wire this field. I think even if the 10 doesn't get out and it's the 3 with the 10 on his flank, I would still take Concertor of Medina Spirit. I think Baffert would have told you Concertor is a better horse 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, even a month ago. So to me, I think the 10 is the value over the 3. And then I think, look, Midnight Bourbon tries hard every single time. He'll be in a better position. He got a D- trip versus Medina Spirit's A+ trip last time. I do think that he's a little bit better of a horse than Medina Spirit. So I'm putting the 10 and the 5 cold in those first 2 spots to try and be able to create value. I'm going to play this for $5. It costs you $30. Hoping you get something big home.
I like it because, that's the thing, we talked a lot about when we were kind of constructing these tickets. It's like, you got to just kind of take a stand on this race and roll the dice, because to me, it does make it.
Your mic is off Aaron's computer, so you need to get that back.
Well, it makes it hard to come up with a plan here unless you just take a stand, because it's you can go underneath, you can go a million ways, and I just have a hard time coming up with anything other than I'm with you. The closer this race gets, I just think Concertor. I mean, we all thought before the Arkansas Derby this was the Derby horse that he had. This was his big Derby horse. If Concertor goes and wins, not to say that. Like if he goes and wins the Derby like Medina Spirit does, we don't question it. We don't think of it. It's just like, well, that's when we thought that horse was good all along. But considering what is going on, you kind of have to question everything. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
We took you off for a second. But honestly, and by the way, we got it on mute, but I'm like distracted because we're showing this whole Bob Baffert thing on NBC, and I'm
so glad it's on mute though.
I'm sure it's a thing of beauty. Oh, Lance Armstrong now.
Oh,
nice.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mark McGuire. Barry Bonds.
Sammy Sosa.
Oh, and Bob.
And Bob Baffert. That's great. Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope they're is anybody listening that are they talking about it in a good light? Because obviously NBC Sports has done a fantastic job over the last, say, year, I feel like, of coverage for horse racing. So it's a shame that it seems like every time we're on that we've got some sort of drama going on in horse racing.
Yeah, we do. Oh, look at this. We're down here now. Yeah, we definitely do every time. Well, Heather told me that they were talking about Bob Baffert's positives on the Derby, actually, on the Derby feed. Just a real quick thing about it. So, it never goes away. Hopefully they're doing a decent job of covering it. Who knows, really? But it's the big story. Like, people are watching right now. They've tuned in. They haven't watched it all day. They're tuning in right now because of this and this alone.
Yep.
And that's the facts of it.
Well, I mean, we talked about how the handle might be affected. I think we saw the opposite. I mean, yesterday was a record handle for Black Eyed Susan Day. I think you're going to see another record handle here. And I think you might get just from a strictly gambling perspective, I think you might get a better price on these Baffert horses because of everything that's going on. I think you're going to have some people that just don't want to bet Concertor. I think the true odds here is Concertor at like 7-5 or 8-5. I think the Medina Spirit should be around 2-1. I don't think anyone else should be under 5-1. And it's kind of crazy when you look at the board now and you see what it was. Like, even earlier when you're seeing Midnight Bourbon the favorite, that to me is ludicrous. Like, that horse should not be the favorite here. So I think if you're looking at this just sheerly from a gambling perspective, the value is on the Bafferts.
Do you think that if you would have had, Beautiful Gift would have won yesterday, the Black Eyed Susan, and say Hosier would have won earlier today, do you think that the odds would be different?
I do. I really do. Now, if we're just talking gambling here, let's put all the emotion aside. That Hosier race, I wouldn't be that discouraged with. I really wouldn't. That horse is not very good, and that horse got a weird trip, and I wouldn't be discouraged. I thought that horse ran decent actually, and they were well clear of everybody else. So.
And when you take into account the beautiful gift side of it, we talked about the conferences. California's been one of the worst groups of fillies on the 3-year-old level.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, beautiful gift is almost excusable in a way because the best 3-year-old filly got hurt, and then Mraz? Like, who else were we running out with out there, right? It just wasn't that great of a group, and you saw that even in the Oaks, where you have Malathat and Search Results, essentially two New York horses banging heads, and you have Army Wife, a New York horse who wins the Black-Eyed Susan.
I mean, that's more than fair. Yeah, I think actually Dr. Miranda pointed that out on her video, on her Black-Eyed Susan video. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't watch it, did you? But she said
I skimmed through it just to see how good or bad it was compared to when Magic does it.
And it was what?
Better.
Thank you.
Yeah. Magic who, right? At first it was like Magic's gonna be back Thursday. Then it was like, let's tap the brakes. I'll just do the Black-Eyed Susan and the Preakness recaps, and then I'll be back Monday. So it sounds like you'll have your pal back officially, Samich, on Monday.
He was jonesing to do the podcast, man. He wanted to get back in that podcast world. It's fun, man. We all enjoy it. It was funny. I mean, Aaron and I talked about it, how doing that podcast was one of the most fun things we did all week because we just got to handicap the races.
Yep.
And like with everything that's been going on, what we love about this is talking about the horses, talking about the races, and be able to enjoy it and discuss it with people. And that was one of the first times since the rumors on Saturday started swirling that we've been able to do that. It had been all about Bob Baffert and betamethasone and all this other bullshit. And it had been not about the part that we like, which is talking about the animals and the horses and the races. And so it was nice to get back there. And I think that was definitely therapeutic for us in a way to be able to start talking about what we actually enjoy on this side of the game.
Yep, totally was. And unfortunately, I bet in 15 minutes when we go on SiriusXM Mad Dog, we probably won't have to just talk about races, right?
No,
I'm sure
we're going to have a lot of
what's the most chaotic situation that could come out of this?
Well, it's got to be can
I throw it out there?
I think Medina winning will still keep that media frenzy around the sport, outside media frenzy around the sport.
What about Concert Tour wins, Medina runs second, and Concert Tour pops positive?
Well, all right, let's think.
Any positive test following the race by the Baffert horses will create.
Now, what would be funny to me? They did all the Baffert. We're going to test them every day. All this shit. All this BS. What if another horse in the race tests positive that's not him? That would be funny too, right?
Well, I also think
would be funny too.
You can help stir this whole thing up by these horses running up the track, and then all of a sudden everybody's just like, "Well, see, I told you he was cheating." Because I've even had people text me that don't really like follow too much, but they follow enough, and like so. And literally, the words are like, and I'm sure you guys have it too. So, are you going to still use Baffert even though he's not cheating now? And that was like, these are people that are like, because they see the thing saying he's passed the test, he's in the Preakness. Now they're like, well, that means he's not cheating now, and he was in the Derby because that's what they told me. And so now all of a sudden you're going to have a lot of people asking, and if those horses go run up the track, it's going to secure in everybody's mind, or at least seemingly in their mind, hey, he wasn't cheating today. His horses sucked. He cheated in the Derby, and he won. You
kind of want to just say, sit down, and let me explain you a few things about Baffert and horse racing. No, you're right. I've gotten that comment a lot. I've also gotten a comment that they just read the headline, and it says, Medina Spirit cleared for Preakness, and they think it means that he's cleared from the Derby allegations, too. I've gotten 4 or 5 phone calls like, hey, I guess he wasn't cheating after all. And it's like, what are you talking about? Well, you can run in the Preakness. It's like, well, sit down. Let me explain you something again. So it's a mess.
Oh man, Talker Listen was second. Midnight Tea Time, the 4, the Bananas was trying to really.
He was right. Yeah, he told us.
That try paid $3.93. All right, final thoughts. We're gonna log off here before. So final thoughts. We are. What are we? How many minutes?
We are now 49 minutes to post.
49 minutes. Medina is 3-1. 5-2 on Midnight Bourbon. That's insane. 7-2 on Concert Tour. Those are your top 3 plays. Final thoughts, Samich. How you betting it? What do you got?
Did you know Mike Smith's only mount all day is Concert Tour?
You know what? I did not realize that.
Yeah, I realized it. No.
Wow.
I am going to play Concert Tour on top. I'll play a Super 10 with 5 with 367 for $5. It costs you $30. I'm going to play a dollar trifecta. 5-10 with 5-6-7-10 with 5-6-7-10. That'll cost you $24 for $1. I'm going to play a cold 10-5 double. And if I get 7-2 on concert tour, there'll be a decent sized win back coming in.
Wow.
He's all in on concert tour.
Yeah. What do you got?
For me,
And you still, even though that price is at that, are you still going to play him?
I'm not going to play him to win, but I wasn't going to play him to win anyway. I'm just going to play a try. I'm going to play 3-4. Let's see, 3-4, 5-10.
I mean, to me, I had Midnight Bourbon second. I had Concert Tour on top. I think I love playing those two. And honestly, underneath, I think you just get a little creative. I do like playing like a 10, like a 5-10, 5-10 with like an underneath play. I'm more on Unbridled Honor than you guys are, but like Unbridled Honor, Medina, Crowded Trade, some of those Rombauer, playing those in the third spot. But the only thing is like Samich is saying, like he's talking about, upping his bet. Like you gotta, if that's your opinion, stick it in,
That's what she said.
Because you gotta
banana.
That's what she said.
If it comes in Concert Tour, Midnight Bourbon, even Medina, and if you include the Medina in your third spot, you better have a healthy base, or else it's kind of pointless.
That's what she said. Go ahead, Samich.
You gotta have the girth of your bet has to be very solid.
Here's for the people asking. Here's the superfecta: 10 with 5 with 3-6-7 with 3-6-7. And then here's the trifecta. They're in the comments too if you want to scroll through it. 5-10 with 5-6-7-10 with 5-6-7-10.
Yep. All right,
guys. Thank you, and we'll be back probably around what time? About 30 minutes after the race.
Yeah,
5 minutes after the race is over. Probably about right on time the final post goes off. We'll be back on. We got to watch those Arabians, and then we'll be back, and we will sum this whole day up, and we'll see if Bob Baffert wins another leg of the Triple Crown. Thanks, everybody.